all of the Avengers have assembled. You're all back together. And you mentioned, working with Nasri, Red One, all these great producers. And, like you mentioned Lady Gaga. How did this environment come about where you were being, so generous with bringing other people in, being inspired by them, allowing them to creatively work with you? Was that just organic, or did you actively go out and search for those people?
I think it just started to come together. Word started to get around that the New Kids were back. Like you had said, it was a bubble. The bubble started expanding, and producers started to reach out. So Red One was someone who reached out and had really only done a lot of hip hop records at that point, but he could play like 10 instruments. He's a genius musician. That sort of opened another creative door. And it started where I think Nasri and I started working with Red One, and then Red One and I really developed a really close bond, and it kind of became him and I. And I think starting working with Nasri gave me confidence as a songwriter again, that eventually he started to do other things, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep going with Red One here and keep writing. And Red One, I think one night, and producers came from other places. Joey had a friend named E-Man, who most of you guys know of. And he was like, can you go write with E-Man tomorrow? And I was like, yep, I'll go. And he was like, give him a chance, he's great. And I went and did a session with him, which is where 2 in the Morning came from. We wrote that song with him and Casey Livingston. And the next day or a week later, we had to record it. And so we had to do 2 sessions at one time in the same building. So we were recording 2 in the Morning in one room with E-Man, and down the hall we were writing Big Girl Now with Red One. And it was a really cool time because we would walk down the hallway and there was Usher, who was recording at another studio, and like all these superstars were coming through, and they were all excited to see us, and we were excited to see them. And the magic just started to flow. It just started to become a thing where all these, collecting thoughts and ideas and meeting with people just started to produce all these opportunities. And from working with Red One, he would always, one of the ways he would introduce himself to us and to get us familiar with his sound was he would play Lady Gaga. And her music was phenomenal. And it was like, oh my God, this is great. And then Joey had seen her somewhere, and he was like, I saw that Lady Gaga at the Grove or something.
Oh yeah,
and he was like, man, she's a star. She's a
star.
Oh
my goodness, she came in, it was just a regular restaurant, and she had gold leggings on, like sparkly, like unbelievable, as if she was on stage, and no one knew who she was, but she was with Red One,
and so Jordan and I were singing 2 in the Morning and writing Big Girl Now. And Jordan demoed all the Gaga parts, so more about that later. But it was an amazing demo of me and Jordan being New Kids and Gaga. But when we wrote Big Girl Now, we thought, let's make it a duet. And we were like, we got to get a female singer to sing it. And we were like, we'll get Britney, we'll get Christina Aguilera. Everyone's so excited, we're reunited. And Red One suggested having Gaga demo it and just do a reference vocal for whatever female artist was gonna sing it. And she sang it. And we knew. I think we were all in the studio together.
That's the invitation I would do with her.
We were in the studio, and we knew right there. We were like, we don't want any other artist on this song. We want Lady Gaga on this song. And we had already discussed her opening for us on tour, and it was something that I think Red One and I bonded over. It was like, please help her get the opening spot on your tour. And I was like, we will. And as we went on, when she sang that part on the record, she slayed it. I mean, she killed it. And it was like, it doesn't matter if nobody knows her, if nobody ever knows her, this is her record. And it made it easier to bring her on tour. But one of the amazing moments that came from that is when we did those sessions with her, she asked at the end of recording Big Girl Now if I would write with her. And I was like, heck yeah, I mean, I'd heard her album. I knew she was great, but I said, we're coming tomorrow. Can you come back? And she was like, yeah. And she came back. In that following session, we wrote Full Service together. And we had talked, I think all of us had talked about, we were starting to duet with people. We were starting to expand, and we were getting songs with other people, and it was like we really had sort of mentioned doing a song with New Edition. And there was no song